The first one is if you could just explain what you're reminding people to do ahead of spring forward daylight saving time on Sunday.
So what we'd like to remind people is when you go to bed on Saturday night, you're going to be changing your clock, springing forward, because the clock changes at 2 o'clock on Sunday morning. And when you're doing that, we want you to take the time on Saturday or at any point over the weekend to test your smoke alarms and change the batteries in your smoke alarms. Because one of the things we're finding, and it's really a disturbing increase in the number of residents where we have structure fires that don't have working smoke alarms. In fact, it's up to 51% of the homes that we have fires in don't have working smoke alarms. Why it's really disturbing is because today fires are burning hotter and faster, which means that people just don't have as much time to get out. So we need to make sure that they have early warning in their home, and that early warning is through a working smoke alarm. Today with fires, the combustibles that are in our homes and our residences are not made of natural fibers, and as they once were. And one of the things we're seeing is you have a lot of products that are made with synthetics, products that are made with flammable materials, engineered type products that we have, and we tend to have lots of them. And so when the open flame gets introduced or heat gets introduced, what happens is these products break down very quickly. They ignite, they give off very toxic black smoke, and it happens in a very rapid manner. And so what happens is lots of smoke's generated very quickly. The fires are growing. The fire then starts to consume a lot of those combustibles, and it happens very rapidly. So really, people have seconds once that smoke alarm goes off to be able to react and to get out. The other thing that's happening today is, there's a tendency to have open concept in our residents and homes. And that open concept means that these fires have the opportunity to get bigger much quicker because there's nothing that's impeding that happening. Previously, we had walls. So we had what I would call compartmentalization, where you actually had a separate dining room, you had a separate living room, you had a separate kitchen area, you had family rooms that were in separate areas. Today, because of that open concept, fire has the ability to grow very quickly. So it's really, really important that folks check that smoke alarm, make sure it's working, change the batteries on a regular basis, and make sure the smoke alarm is within its life expectancy of 10 years.
The Office of the Fire Marshal said early evidence suggests there were no working smoke alarms in a Hamilton home that set fire on February 17th, which killed one person and hospitalized 5 others. And then there was also that fire that claimed the lives of 4 people, including 2 children in the townhome on the Hamilton Mountain on December 29th, in which no working smoke alarms were present. So in light of this, why is this reminder to check smoke and carbon monoxide detectors especially important this year and always?
Well, it always is. And we, as a fire department, are constantly telling people about the importance of smoke alarms. And I think what happens is the 2 fires that you've mentioned certainly brings home the fact that this is happening in our city. People are either getting injured or losing their lives in situations where there are fires in homes and residences, and there are no working smoke alarms. It really starts to prove the point that you need to have early warning to be able to have an opportunity to escape.
And aside from the reminder for this coming weekend with the time going ahead, how often should people check their smoke and carbon monoxide detectors?
Well, actually, I would strongly recommend that they check their smoke alarms and test their smoke alarms at least monthly. One of the things is that smoke alarms have a tendency to go off in some residents when people are cooking or when people have showers. And the fact is that every time they activate, you're using some of the energy that's in that battery. So you want to make sure that that battery is well charged. It will be potentially what will activate that smoke alarm with the smoke and give you that opportunity to leave. So it's really important on a regular basis that folks do check those smoke alarms.
And do you have any other recommendations for residents to keep safe and prevent or protect themselves from fires?
Absolutely. So the other thing that we want people to do this weekend is also check their carbon monoxide alarms, because they also have batteries and they also can be tested. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless gas that comes from combustion that's not complete combustion of natural gas products. And so one of the things, especially in this type of weather, we find a lot of people, we've had a number of calls where people are starting their vehicles in their garages, and carbon monoxide is entering into the homes, and it can be very dangerous. The same thing with in snowstorms like we're seeing this weekend again, where snow builds up around furnace vents and hot water vents. The snow will then block off the ability for that unburnt product to be able to be admitted out of the home, and it will stay in the home. And now you've got carbon monoxide filling your home, and it can be very dangerous. You may not know that there's carbon monoxide in your home without a carbon monoxide alarm. And I think the other piece is it's really important to understand that in the province of Ontario, it's legislated that you have to have smoke alarms on every floor of your residence and outside of your sleeping areas. And you need to have carbon monoxide alarms in the areas where you have fuel burning appliances. So whether it's a gas stove or a gas fireplace or a gas hot water heater, you need to have carbon monoxide alarms in those areas. And I would strongly suggest that you also should have them outside your sleeping areas as well.
Do you have any other final thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, I think the other thing too is that we need to remember that the top three causes of fires here in the city of Hamilton haven't changed very much over the years. It's still careless smoking or careless disposal of smokers' materials, unattended cooking, and electrical. And these fires are typically all preventable, and they are very much based on human behavior. And what I mean by that is people are making decisions that may not be the best decisions that are leading to these unfortunate incidents of fire and potentially injury and death. And so we want people to be more mindful that if you are disposing of smokers' materials, you do it in a proper ashtray or basket or container. And what we also want people to be mindful is, if you're smoking outside, it's, don't be butting out your cigarettes in planters or flicking them off the deck. We see a number of times where we have significant fires that are taking place, where the fire gets going from the cigarette, it laps up onto the house, and next thing you know, it's involving the siding that's on the house, which is made of flammable materials, and very quickly it gets up into the roof area and then breaches windows and into the residence. The same thing with cooking, unattended cooking fires. People's lives are very busy these days, and it's very easy to get distracted. So when you put things on the stove or they're cooking, make sure you stay with the stove. You don't leave the stove if you have things cooking on it. We find many times people have got things on the stove. Next thing you know, something happens, they get distracted, they leave. And when they come back, they've got a full-blown kitchen fire, which has now gone into the cupboards and is extending into other parts of the home. So it's really, really important that people make the right decisions because these fires are preventable.